Okay, gang. So this little video is going to show you how to use Slicer, Creality Slicer, to use the 3D printers. So what you should have done is from your CAD system, you should have saved your file as an STL. Now I'm going to just show you how to then open it into the software. I've just downloaded a file from Thingiverse just so that it's quicker. So there we go. There's the STL file, so I can open that there and bring it in. So it brings it in. Now with 3D printing, we need to think about how can we print this to the best quality and as quickly as possible. So to do that, we need to understand a couple of things. To 3D print something, we need to understand what is meant by the term support structure. Support structure is what holds floating areas of a design up in the air. So what the 3D printer will do is it'll print from the bottom, it'll gradually print up and up and up, so it'll print this, but then as it's printing around, say, maybe around here, where it's in line with that. When it gets to here, it's going to have to start printing this. Now, it can't print that in free space. Otherwise, obviously, it'll just fall over. So what it has to do is at the same time, it has to print some support structure, support material, so that it can actually build on something. Otherwise, it's just trying to print in thin air and it won't work. So to do that, this software can actually generate the support structure for you automatically. So you can just check this. You can open up the tab here. You'll get this these settings to start with. So you'll see there's a checkbox here called support and then another one called adhesion. So that's great, but sometimes we want to just change it a little bit because adding too much support structure can mean it takes absolutely ages to print. So if I open the support window down here, you can see where it says support placement everywhere because you can sort of choose where you want it to go. Support pattern, you can have a whole load of different patterns. Lines tend to be the quickest to do. And then the density is essentially how much support structure do you want to print. So 5% is pretty low. I mean, we could go even lower, I guess, like try 3% and see what happens. And yeah, we can see then how much, because they never need that much support. It's always just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to show you next is this one here called build plate adhesion. Now this is quite important. Please always choose raft for your modeling, for your printing. Raft means that it'll actually print a new bed on the plate first before it builds the model. Now this almost guarantees that your model will print well. If you go for the other ones like None or Brim or Skirt or whatever, it makes it harder for the 3D printer to actually get the model to stick to the build plate. So raft is always good. Okay, now let's see what this looks like. If I go slice, it'll slice the design and it'll show 4 hours, 3 minutes. We can go preview and it'll show where the support structure will go. Now that's looking pretty good. So you can see we're just going to have a little bit of support structure just on these overhanging bits here. And then that will be fairly quick to print. But I think we can actually get it even quicker than that. So let's go back and we'll go prepare again. So let's try changing the model orientation. Now you always want to orientate the model so that you have as little support structure as possible. So I'm just going to I clicked on the rotate button there and I'm just going to rotate this to 90 degrees this way. Now this way we have vertical sides, so the 3D printer can just print that straight up. So the only overhanging sections we've got are that bit there and this little bit here where the cable is going to go. So let's see what happens now. If we check our support structure, we've got that turned on, good, everywhere. It's on lines, 3%, that should be okay. And you know what, let's try build plate adhesion. Let's just try, I can never actually remember what types, which one's which. Let's try Brim, see what that does. Yeah, so it says Brim adds a single layer flat around the base, okay, and then we've got the other one's Raft, Thick Grid, and okay, well, let's try Brim. Let's see what that does. And we'll see if we can speed it up. Okay, there we go. So that's faster already. So we can go preview. We can see here, because we've got so little support structure, and we've just got as it was saying, the brim modeled there on the bed. That should be quicker to do. So I'll show you some other tips as well that are good for speeding up your printing. It depends what quality you're looking for in your model. If you're looking just for a quick prototype, you don't need to have really high quality printing. So if we go to quality here, the layer height is how thick each layer is. Now, the lower the number, the higher the quality. So we could even go 0.25 to make the layering slightly thicker. If you go to shell, or actually let's try infill, is what it does inside the walls of the print. Now you can 5% is fine for that. That's pretty good. If you want it to be stronger, you could go triangles, and then that'll make the material inside the surfaces there a little bit stronger. Speed is another thing. Now, when it's a prototype, you can actually print very quickly. You can print 140 millimeters per second, and